Odiogo.com, the web read for you.
Immigration in the NHS. Immigration in the NHS. The articles below will help you understand the extent to which immigration is damaging the NHS and placing strain on the UK health facilities. The time has come to end all immigration into the UK and also to deport all non-UK citizen immigrants who are resident in the UK with chronic medical conditions who have been allowed to stay in the UK and use NHS facilities. This has to be done on the grounds that their presence in the country threatens the public health and is also diverting resources away from UK citizens who are entitled to use the NHS through their national insurance contributions, and also due to the contributions of their ancestors whose sacrifices in 2 world wars led to the creation of the NHS. AIDS https://mi_qn415h/is_q_n415h/i_n_m127222823. There were 5,711 new diagnoses of HIV to the end of September last year, the highest since records began in 1987. The rest of the increase, from a total of 41,700 diagnosed cases in 2001, was due to sufferers' blood being tested without their knowledge. The number of new cases was 15% up on the 4,982 diagnosed in 2001 and is expected to rise to 6,400 when all the reports are received. The rate of infection has more than doubled since 1997. 2/3 of the cases were acquired outside the UK, triggering renewed calls yesterday for immigrants to be screened. The cases' overseas origin, most from sub-Saharan Africa, has changed the nature of the epidemic, with heterosexual cases now outnumbering homosexual-bisexual infections 2-to-1. Of the 1,850 cases of HIV acquired in the UK during 2002, about 1,500 to 80% were among gay and bisexual men and 275 among heterosexuals. http://1/hi/health/background_briefings/aids/309025.stm Heterosexually infected Africans are the second largest group affected by HIV in the country, according to the National AIDS Trust. More than 1,000 are thought to have AIDS and most children born with HIV are African.
http://live/articles/news/news.html?mark_in_id=56341/o=id=1770 The rise in drug-resistant tuberculosis cases in the UK has been linked to immigration and inadequate attempts to control the disease. The Health Protection Agency, HPA, found more TB cases are now resistant to any of the drugs used for initial treatment. The incidence of TB in England, Wales and Northern Ireland is rising, with more than 8,000 cases reported in 2006. Hepatitis B http://www.tiimsonline.co.uk/tol/news/uk/health/article 3958418.ec 1 in 10 of the Chinese immigrant population in Britain is carrying the hepatitis B virus, a survey suggests, leading to calls for all migrants to be screened upon entering the country. There has been a massive surge in migration to Britain from areas of high HBV prevalence, and a report from the Hepatitis B Foundation UK estimates that more than 325,000 people here are chronically infected with the virus, nearly double the Department of Health's 2002 estimate of 180,000. Most people infected will eventually clear the virus from their bodies, but about 5–10% become chronic hepatitis B carriers, often without even knowing it. Although the prevalence of chronic hepatitis B, CHB, in the resident population is only about 0.3%, 96% of new cases are imported by people who acquire the infection before coming to Britain. Of 89 Chinese immigrants screened by the Chinese National Healthy Living Centre in London, 10% were found to be hepatitis B positive. There is a particular risk of transmission between children in playgroups, schools and nurseries, as the virus is considered 100 times more infectious than HIV.
At present in the NHS there is no requirement for doctors or nurses from overseas to be tested for infection, and in 2003 alone, 700 doctors and about 6,000 nurses came to Britain from areas with a high incidence of hepatitis B. Maternity services. http://1/hi/health/6,494,651 stm. The BBC has been told the influx of Eastern Europeans to the UK has led to a massive rise in pregnancies and abortion requests. In some areas, health professionals warn that some antenatal services are stretched to breaking point. More than 500,000 Eastern Europeans had migrated to the UK following the accession of 8 new member states to the EU in 2004. In one GP practice in Luton in Bedfordshire, 400 new patients register every month, and 80% are Eastern European. A decade ago one baby in 8, 12.8%, was delivered to a foreign-born mother. Figures from the Office of National Statistics show that in 2006 there were 154,000 births to foreign-born women, making up about 1 in 5, 21.9%, of the total births in the UK. The number of births to European-born mothers other than from the UK and Ireland increased by 87% between 2001 and 2006 to 27,000, almost 4% of all UK births. While the number of babies born to British mothers has fallen by 44,000 a year since the mid-90s, the figure for babies born to foreign mothers has risen by 64,000. The BBC reported the 77% increase has pushed the overall birth rate to its highest level for 26 years. The cost to the NHS of providing maternity services for foreign-born mothers has risen to more than £350 million a year. It has been reported record levels of immigration have pushed the cost up by £200 million in the past 10 years, according to analysis by the BBC.